Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a comparison between the iPhone 11 that I have on my left and the iPhone 10R that I have on my right in 2021. So, first of all, where do I even start? Both these phones, surprisingly, are still being sold by Apple, so you can still easily pick these things up, which that in and of itself is pretty cool. But there's also a lot of other funny kind of things between these devices, because the iPhone 10R is selling for $499, the iPhone 11 is selling for $599. So only $100 in difference, but there definitely are some pretty big advantages of picking up, the iPhone 11 over the 10R, but the 10R is still a really good deal as well. Now I'll find the cheapest ones of both these, link them down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, as always, side by side, these iPhones are pretty much almost identical. They have pretty much the same panels. Apparently the iPhone 11's was a little bit brighter, but they're pretty much almost the same thing. IPS panel, 6.1 inches, nothing super crazy here. I think when it comes down to the front, they are more similar than not. Lightning ports on the bottom of both of these, no headphone jacks or anything. Power buttons, volume buttons, all on the same side. The thickness is about the same too. I don't really think one is way thinner or way thicker than the other one, especially in the hand. They feel almost like the same exact thing, mostly because they still have glass on the back as well. Nothing is going to change on the outside. You have to keep that in mind. So when I say like they still have it, it's just, I don't know, it's just a habit. But you can see automatically one of the bigger changes. The iPhone 11 had a dual camera setup. The iPhone 10R has a single camera setup. And I think this may be one of the bigger visual changes for sure. But there's also a lot of others, minor changes here and there. But this for sure is one of the bigger changes when you look at the iPhone 10R and you look at the iPhone 11. This is a huge change. Now both these still have IP certification. Both have the same storage models as well, 64 gigs for the base models, and they go up from there. And there's a year difference between these two, but I'm still surprised by how good the iPhone 10R is of a phone and how good the iPhone 11 is of a phone. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it up. Now, one of the bigger changes between these two phones is mostly these software updates. We really don't know which iPhone is going to end up outlasting, by how much. Of course, the iPhone 11 is going to outlast the iPhone 10R. So if you want a phone that's going to last the most amount of time, the iPhone 11 is the better way to go. This phone is theoretically going to last at least 1 year longer than the iPhone 10R, but I've also heard reports where the iPhone 10R may get an extra year of software support. Now, there's not really reports, it's just based off Apple's past behavior. It kind of seems like we may be getting an extra year of support on the iPhone 10R. Again, no way to corroborate this, no way to actually go away, but I think ultimately there may be some valid there. So when it comes down to it, the iPhone 11 may actually end up lasting just as long as the iPhone 10R. Who knows? We look at the iPhone 6 and we look at the iPhone 5s. Those ended up getting pretty much the same years of software support, even though they came out a year after to one another. And it could be the same exact case here. We really don't know. So that may be one of the bigger changes, but also it's one of those changes that may not even affect a lot of people because we're still talking so many years down the line. We still have to wait until the iPhone 7s are done getting support, then the iPhone 6s before that. Then we have to wait for the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone 10 to stop getting support, and then that's when the iPhone 10R is going to stop getting support. So we still have quite a bit of time on something like an iPhone 10R. The iPhone 11 is going to be supported for a very long time as well. It's going to be lasting much longer than the iPhone 10R, maybe by a year, like I stated, but we really don't know for a fact yet. So in terms of that, that really pretty much covers it off for the most part in terms of the software standpoint and, kind of answering which one is going to last longer than the other one. Now let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed test between both phones. Now the iPhone 10R has that Apple A12 chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 11 has that Apple A13 chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster phone between both of these. Okay, now that we're back, let's go and start loading these apps up. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And both are about the same, not a big difference. Let's go and do App Store, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the iPhone 10R, surprising, which is on the right, ended up loading up that one faster than the iPhone 11, which was very surprising to me. I don't know if there was an issue there in terms of scrolling speed. They kind of had the same thing going on. Nothing super crazy, but that's pretty surprising in and of itself. Let's do clock, 3, 2, 1. About the same as well. Gestures seem to be about the same too. Let's go ahead and do camera, 3, 2, 1. And about the same thing going on here too. Not a ginormous difference by any means. Music, 3, 2, 1. And both are on the latest version of iOS 13 or iOS 14 as far as I know. A little bit of a pop-up here too. Let's go and start loading up some of these third-party apps that I always have to talk about. Let's go and do Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 I think was the faster one there. The iPhone 10 are a little bit behind. Let's go and do Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 again is faster. iPhone 10 are a little bit behind. Let's go ahead and do Instagram. 3, 2, 1. I didn't want to do it because I don't know if I'm logged into one and not logged into the other. But both of them seem to be logged in on both, so that's good. Let's go ahead and do Temple Run. 3, 2, 1. Now this may get screwed up on both, so I'll just see which one loads up into whatever faster. And as you can see, the iPhone 11 actually was able to load that one up faster by a little bit. So again, another slight little difference there, which is always good to see. Let's go and do Facebook. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone XR seemed to get into this panel faster, but I was logged into here, so maybe that's a little bit of a difference. Twitter. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 was faster to get into that specific panel. Let's go ahead and do Fruit Ninja. 3, 2, 1. Now that we did get a little bit of an update with Fruit Ninja that has screwed up basically every single comparison ever. And as you can see, it is a little bit of a different version on both that I stated before. So I really don't know which one would have theoretically been actually faster. But in this case, we'll just give it to the iPhone XR for being a little bit faster in that case. Let's do stack. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 was faster to get into the ad, but you can see the stack actually closed out by itself on the iPhone 11. The iPhone XR was able to keep that in the background, I guess. I really don't know what happened there. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 was faster there. I thought the iPhone XR was going to win there. I think in terms of gameplay, they're both more similar than not, if I'm being honest. I played a bunch of games on both these, since they've been out, and I really haven't found a crazy amount of difference, and I'm seeing now in the speed difference that there's even less difference than I thought. Snake first blocks. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the iPhone 11 again is the faster one. The iPhone XR slightly behind. And when I did click on it, I did see that the iPhone XR did glitch up a little bit. Not a humongous difference, but something to keep in mind. But as you can see, once that happened, they've both been pretty clear so far. So that's really, really good. Let's go and do Netflix. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 slightly faster there. Kind of swapped the phone out. And let's go and end it off with Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the iPhone 11 does seem to be the faster one. In this case, the iPhone XR actually noticeably behind. I wasn't expecting to see this big of a difference between the two. So definitely when it comes down to the performance, I really don't know which one is like completely the faster one every single time. I'm actually pretty surprised how well the iPhone XR did here. I wasn't expecting it to be like a crazy big difference, and there really wasn't, but it was kind of more hand in hand. I was surprised to see that the iPhone XR still did a really good job throughout, even though this one is the newer one. The iPhone XR still held its own. So that really pretty much covers up everything I wanted to hit on. So to kind of answer the question, should you go pick up an iPhone 11 or should you go and pick up an iPhone XR in 2021? Well, what I'll tell you is that I think for sure there's pros and cons for both, but there's also a lot of similarities. There's not necessarily a phone between the two that I would be like, yes, you have to go pick up 100% over the other one. At least right now, like I stated, I think maybe the bigger difference between the two is probably going to come down into the camera setup on the back, the camera setup on the front. You can do 4K at 60 on the iPhone 11, only 1080p at 60 on the iPhone XR, which is still pretty good, but it's probably going to come down to the software. I feel like ultimately, whichever one is going to last longer at what point is going to be the better one for people. And the reason I say that and what that basically means is right now it doesn't really mean too much because both these phones are still going to be getting support for quite a bit of time. But ultimately, in the next 2, 3 years, be at a point just like how the iPhone 6s is right now, where we don't know if it's going to get another version of software. It's already pretty old, so you might not want to go ahead and pick up an iPhone 6s because it's going to be outdated. But even if it does get the next version of software, then we're set, I guess, for another year. And that's not really where we're at right now. If you want the longest lasting phone, the iPhone 11 is the better way to go. But if you're okay with having, just a 1-year-old phone older than the iPhone 11, or it's a 2018 phone, it's not even 2 years, it's a little bit over 2 years old, but it's not really that old. This phone still has a lot of capability. The iPhone XR still has a beautiful panel, feels really, really good in the hand. I'm holding it right now, and it still feels extremely premium. The performance was surprisingly fast on the iPhone XR. I was not expecting this phone to be as fast as it was. I was honestly expecting it to be a little bit slower than, the iPhone 11, and it was slower in some cases, but ultimately it surprised me how good of a performing phone the iPhone XR still is. But ultimately, I think the iPhone 11 was just a little bit faster and pretty much, overall. But there were cases the iPhone XR was faster. but that still doesn't mean to me that this phone is the, crazy best one each way. Like if you can find an iPhone XR for a really good price, then I would say pick it up. But if you have the money, if you have the capability of picking up an iPhone 11, I would say go for it. It's going to be giving you a much better experience. It's going to be lasting you longer. You're also getting a much better camera setup on the iPhone 11 than the iPhone XR. But if you don't really care about that, if you don't really care about anything, you just want a phone that's going to last you as long as you can, and you want it cheaper, I think the iPhone XR is an amazing phone still, and it's really only getting better. You're still getting full OS support for the time being. So both these phones are great. The iPhone XR if you want to save some money, the iPhone 11 if you're okay with spending some more money, the iPhone 11 is probably the better one for sure. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much for you guys to hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.